my God, hi. I don't know if any of you do this or not, but I have so many lists in the notes on my phone. I have a list for a running grocery list. I have a list of song ideas. I have a list of ideas for this show. I have a list of people I've slept with. Like, I have lists for everything. And so last night I was actually going through a couple of those lists, and one of the lists is called Deep Thoughts. And let's just say these are thoughts I have when I am under the influence of a certain substance. And so I was reading the gibberish because it's not that coherent. And there was something that I wrote down that just sort of like blew my mind. And I'm going to read it because I don't want to screw it up. I wrote, "My thoughts of invisibility and inaccessibility are both the poison and the antidote." I'm going to read it again. "My thoughts of invisibility and inaccessibility are both the poison and the antidote." What? Am I Socrates? Am I William Shakespeare? Am I F. Scott Fitzgerald? He wrote The Great Gatsby, right? Dr. Seuss? Dr. Seuss is probably more like it. This hit me like a ton of bricks because I'm being vulnerable here. I have an invisibility complex. I feel like people don't really see me. I feel like people see sort of past me or through me. And it's one of the biggest themes in my life that is really hard for me on a daily basis to overcome. When I was a kid, I was the youngest of my two siblings. I was the youngest of 19 grandchildren. So I was kind of a runt. I was kind of just like, I was always among other people. And in elementary, middle, high school, college, I just sort of flew under the radar. Like, I didn't really have that much of a personality, and I wasn't popular, but I wasn't like picked on that much. And so I was just kind of like flat, like nothing really happened. And then you move to Nashville and enter the music business, and by God, if you don't feel invisible in that, I don't know, you got some crazy confidence. But I often feel like people just don't see me, or that I'm not listened to. Oh boy, we're getting real vulnerable here. And so I read this and I was like, holy crap, like I really had a profound thought when I was in the clouds. I probably shouldn't say that. It's not clouds like, it's marijuana. That's what it was. It's not like meth. So my invisibility and inaccessibility are the poison and the antidote. Okay, so if it's my poison, my brain is telling me, you're invisible. No one's seeing you. No one cares about you. No one thinks you're a good singer or a good songwriter. No one's interested in dating you. No one really finds you that interesting or finds humor in what you're saying or doing. That's the poison. But on the flip side, it's also the antidote. Because if I'm actually invisible, if I'm like, okay, brain, you say I'm invisible, then let's act like it. Let's act like nobody's watching. Let's say what we want to say on the internet. Let's tell the internet that we had. I did that a couple days ago. Let's act like nobody's watching. Let's perform on stage like nobody's watching. Because they're not. That's what my brain's telling me. I'm invisible. So let's act like it. Let's perform like it. Let's do skits. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's go on dates and just be free. And let's go to clubs and not worry about like, oh, I got to suck in. Do I look fat? Well, if they're not watching, it doesn't matter. So let's live life like that. Let's live like it doesn't matter. I guarantee you the thing that you feel like is your biggest struggle, mine is this whole invisibility thing. And there's so many other layers that pull into it. It has to do with my weight, because I'm like, well, I'm invisible because I'm fat or I'm overweight, and people don't like fat people, so they don't look at me because I make them physically ill. My brain tells me that on a daily basis. So like, your thing, whatever it is, you feel like you're too fat, too thin, too smart, too dumb, too blonde, too brunette, whatever. I bet that's the thing that if you can master it and lean into it, it's also the antidote that's going to set you free from that. Because if mine's truly the invisibility thing, and I just give into it and say, okay, I'm invisible. Now what? If nobody's watching, then I'll do whatever I want to do. And I guarantee you that's the moment when things start to change for me. We're growing together. We're learning this together. There are things that I feel like I talk about with you all that I have mastered. And there are things like this that are still very much ongoing problems that are very raw and like hurt to talk about. And this is one of them. So let's just do it. Let me just pretend like nobody's watching. And we'll see how far that gets us. I'm going to go cry now. Actually, that's not true. I can't cry because I'm on antidepressants and it makes it impossible for me to cry. All right, talk to you tomorrow.